And good evening, everybody. This is Michael Filigera, and I'm with logicalsignals.com and also tradershelpingtraders.com. And this is the Elliott wave update for the NQ for Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. I'm going to start on the 4-hour chart, but just very briefly, today was picture perfect. The market did pretty much tell us exactly where it sat within our wave count. It was a 3 of 3 type move. It was beautiful. We're going to go over that in a little bit more detail. But first, I just want to begin with the big picture because we have two sets of Fibonacci numbers that are going here. And this higher or wider one is going to be telling us about the intermediate fifth wave, which is still underway. Now, the secondary Fibonacci sequence is the minor fifth wave within the intermediate fifth wave. So we're running a double, and we have some territory and some zones where we think that this all comes together and possibly completes the move that a larger move that we've been tracking. Now, I'm going to go down quickly to the 15-minute chart, and we're just going to dive into today. When we left off last night, we were basically looking at the possibility that the market could drop all the way back down to 13,772 to complete a more extended corrective phase, a wave 2 corrective phase. But it didn't. And so we left it that if the market did turn and ended up to rally, it would need to break above 13,842 to really demonstrate that what we were entering was a 3 of 3 move. And this one was classic. It just went. It actually started this morning on the numbers, the economic numbers that came out. And then it just went initially right above 13,842 and just kept right on going, which now made clear that it basically was heading for the all-time high so far, or up to today, was 13,950. And it did. Once the market got open, it just went. And it broke above 13,900.50. And we had also discussed that should it do that with oomph, with enough power behind it, then the next logical stopping point or pausing point would be 13,937. Well, that's exactly what it did. It got there, pulled back beautifully, and then just took off again. Now, we initially had discussed and said that 14,000 would provide some somewhat stronger resistance, certainly because it's really a new all-time high, and that large of a round number, they're going to gun it, they're going to go for the stops, and then just let it come down. Typical move from market makers, by the way. Well, the NDX, which is the cash market, actually did trade 2 points, traded to 14,002, and then just retreated. But the future got to 13,994, and then it started to pull back. So the way that this counts is that this completed that internal third wave. But now what we're looking for, so I'm going to count as if this is the 1, this is 2, and then we get an additional 1, 2, and then it breaks into the third. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 of 3, and then we're going to get a 4, and then we're going to have a 5 to complete the little bit larger third wave, and then have another decline, and then another fairly sturdy rally. So now I'm going to open this up. Actually, I'm just going to go out a little bit. Let's go to the 30-minute. And so it's not quite so tedious to pull it all down. These are our zones. Now, with the strength that I'm seeing, it would not be out of the realm of reality to see the market break 14,000 and complete the third wave in progress, and the little bit larger one, maybe upwards of, and what we can do, that was the other thing I wanted to add. What we'll do is, once we're certain that the third wave is complete, so in other words, this is not 3 and then we're doing a 4 and then we're doing a 5, we can, or where it can end up, I can do additional Fibonacci's from this level to this level, and then we can relate that 5th wave to this 3rd wave, and that would then produce some additional. So we could take a stab and put it here, and that'll give some indication of where this probably will end, or you can wait. But for the sake of the exercise, let's go ahead and take a look at that, so that we're just continuing to build Fibonacci relationships so that we can peg where all of this comes to a conclusion. And this is actually a little bit more instructional in terms of how we're going to use Fibonacci. But if I can get it to work, come on. Sometimes it gets a little fussy with me, like it's doing right now. And for the sake of the argument, I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to do this, because, come on, one last second, and then I'm just going to leave it. No, see, it's not going to do it, and I apologize, folks. So you saw what I was talking about. We're going to run Fibonacci's, and I'll try it on this one, see if it'll do it for me. Yeah, it does. Okay, fine. We'll take it from here. And that's really just going to come down about there. So now, and this is just a true guesstimate, because we don't really know if this little tiny 4 is complete. But there they are. And so we have, say, for example, 14,005. And then we have 14,037, 14,000, let's get a little bit of that, 14,063. So you can see how this builds. And so now we can start to put what we feel limitations might be on this. It could get all the way to 14,117. But that would truly be extended. But what we saw today could occur again. And that would be the way it is. But we're looking for it to complete and then correct again. But now we have levels that we can use, so that should it start to decline and start to fall back below those levels, then it gives a clear indication that, oh, we're correcting, and now we can look for something different. So having said that, I am going to take that one off. And once we pull into this, we now still have these zones, which are now up to complete a 5-wave, the little bit larger 5-wave structure that we're counting. And so our first zone remains 14,117 to 14,262. Breaks above that bring us to our next zone, which is 14,407 to 14,514. So we have our 2 zones, which we now think, or I now think, that this is where this all comes to a conclusion. And we then start to enter into a much larger correction. These areas could be in play for the balance of the month, because we now have entered earnings season. So we've got to keep all these things in mind. And these could stop and turn on a dime if earnings season does not be received favorably. In other words, if they don't start blowing the doors off of it and things are not looking that good moving out, and guidance it might be lower, you're going to get some nasty moves. In any case, we're not looking for that right now. We need to see this rally complete, and we know very short term for tomorrow, we have the possibility for continued decline, but not that big, for a fourth wave. And then an additional rally to complete the third that we're in. And then an additional 4, an additional rally. So we got a lot of back and forth, and it's all going to be very tradable. Today, folks, really was tradable. Again, I'm going down to the 15, and I'll probably take some of this Fibonacci up so we can see it. These moves were outstanding. That's really what you're trading for. You want to be there. You want to participate. When your moving averages are in line, everything is lined up. It all fits. You just kind of, then you can work the trend. So you're always going to be working a contract. So, or more for that matter, but you're going to build. And so you might start with 2, you get out of 1, and then you're now playing, and maybe it pulls back a little bit so that you add 1 back in, and then it takes off again. Once you're getting all of your moving averages in alignment, it's a beauty, it's a wonder, it's wonderful trading, and it's what we trade for. So anyway, tomorrow we might see some additional. Again, we're in earnings now. Banks have come out. We have a lot of the banks tomorrow morning, the bigger banks, Goldman Sachs, you got JP Morgan, et cetera. They're all going to be reporting, and they're actually expected to be favorable. So it could be a good testament to what to expect moving on. And that's where I'm going to leave it. The next update is Wednesday, the 14th.